whiskey.
Well, hello everybody. Good to see you here. And for Spirit Week Jam, week 13. I hope you're all well and healthy and enjoying some of the good weather we've had. Beautiful day today. And we've had some great days lately. So anyway, here we are. It's the last of the Spirit Jams, because it's summertime, and I think everybody needs to get outside and do what it is that they do in the summer. So, did you notice that we had an omission here? There I am with my little hammers, but we didn't have Terry with his banjos, so we rectified that before we were finished. Anyway, so let's begin with, it's a Silver Strings Jam, so we will begin with Westphalia Waltz, and we'll play it in the key of G, and it's 3 times. The second time through, listen for the fiddles, because they always come in with some lovely harmonies and descants and things like that. Oh, it would be nice if the mic was on, wouldn't it? All right, so I think we're set now. Here we go.
Jeez.
somewhere else, I guess, right now. Maybe on a beach somewhere, I'm not sure. All right, so another tune that we play very frequently at Silver Strings is Red Wing, and a lot of places in the country consider that a Michigan tune because it was written by U of M professor Cary Mills. That was his stage name, by the way. But anyway, in thinking about this, the Red Wing is a story of an Indian maiden who is pining for her brave who is out and I think got killed in war. So this tune was actually sung in some movies, believe it or not. John Wayne sang it, and I can't even remember ever hearing him sing, but he sang in a 1943 film called Old Oklahoma. Then he sang it again about 20 years later with Lee Marvin in a movie called The Comancheros. And he waited for another 15 years and sang it again with Lauren Bacall in probably the last movie he ever made. I think it was The Shootist, which wasn't a very good movie. I vaguely remember that. So anyway, Red Wing actually is an Indian name that refers, there's a town in Minnesota called Red Wing, and it was named for a Lakota chief, Red Wing. So anyway, let's do Red Wing 3 times key of G. The first part of our tune list tonight has to do with colors. And last year when Silver Strings played at Everett for the Thursday night pre-show, this was our theme actually, and we did a box of crayons, a Crayola crayons box of 8. So we did medleys of different tunes and tunes all that had a color in them. And so the next tune was one that we did, Yellowbird, and it was, as I said it in the previous week, it's a Haitian folk tune, later made famous, and the original name of it was Shakuni. So let's play that. It's in the key of G as well, and we'll play it 3 times. Get out your shakers if you want, or spoons, or whatever rhythm. This is a good instrument for rhythm instruments, a good song for rhythm instruments. So, summertime is officially here, and after a very cold spring, it seems really nice to have summer weather. So, the first conversation thread of the evening is, what is your summertime favorite activity? Do you like going by the pool, or by the lakes, or fishing, or hiking, or what is it that's your favorite summertime activity? And where do you do this summertime activity? Can you do it around your house, or do you have to go somewhere? And if you go somewhere, where is it that you go? So, anyway, tell each other about where you would be going, especially since some of the places may not be able to do that this year. Like people whose favorite summertime activity are baseball games. And I think they're playing without an audience. So, anyway. That's the first conversation of the evening. So share your stories and your activities that you enjoy with each other. All right. So while you're thinking about that, we're going to do Black Mountain Rag. We're switching to the key of D, and we're going to play it. Let's play it 4 times. It goes so fast. Okay, since we've been doing this Spirit Jam, what seems to be becoming a favorite is the Blueberry Splash. And I must thank Judy Morningstar again for letting us play that. It is just a nice tune, and it reminds me of summer and bluebirds and indigo buntings and all things blue that speak of summer. And in Michigan, part of that is blueberries. In fact, this morning we had blueberry pancakes. just to get myself ready for the jam. So anyway, and while I'm talking about Judy Morningstar, some of you have been asking about the Rough Water Fake Book, and that has a lot of reels and jigs in it, and Judy's put this together. It's a great resource for jamming, especially if you're coming to Michigan, because a lot of groups use that as for a lot of the tunes that they jam with. So it is still available, and tomorrow if you look on the wrap-up posting, I will have a link to her website and where you can get it. It costs $30 and $5 for the shipping, but it's a great investment. So let's do Blueberry Splash. It's in the key of G. It goes from G to E minor, and we'll play it 3 times. Right, and those of you, if you haven't said hi to each other when you've come and signed in, make sure you do and greet each other and greet, I think there might be 1 or 2 new people this week. And if you haven't been in a while and you're back, then I'm glad you're back. But do say hi and greet each other and let everybody know what you're playing tonight. Some of you play so many different instruments, so maybe tonight you've chosen to play something different. And even if you have more than one, maybe you're playing a different same instrument. Now, some people have several dulcimers, or a couple of different fiddles, or, maybe 2 or 3 different mountain dulcimers tuned different ways. I don't know. But anyway, share what that is with each other. So now we're doing, I think, like the most basic anthem for hammer dulcimers is Golden Slippers, but we'll play it 2 times in each key. We'll start with D, and we'll go to G, and we'll go to C. And just one other thing about this saying hi to each other. If you're from somewhere else, and we have quite a few people from other states, and you ever come to Michigan, and you're here when Silver Strings has a jam, just think you're going to already know probably half of our tunes. So you'll be able to sit right down and play along. All right, let's do Golden Slippers 2 times in each one of those keys. to C. The mind is a strange thing. All right, so the next, we're still in the silver and gold area, and we're going to do an old favorite fiddle tune called Silver and Gold Two-Step. And this is a tune that Silver Strings recorded on their first CD many, many years ago and played quite often. It's quite often on our playlist for when we play out. So anyway, I'm not sure where this originated from. You know, there's fiddle tunes and there's fiddle tunes, and it depends on if you're in the South or in the French Canadian or the Northeast or the out West or from Ireland. So where this came from, I really don't know. Probably one of you do. But Silver and Gold Two-Step in the key of G 3 times. Okay, this next tune was actually not on the original tune list. It was asked if we could put it in by one of our fiddlers, Edie, but it was certainly seconded and thirded and supported by many people who like this fiddle tune. And The Red-Haired Boy is a tune that it comes from Ireland and England or Scotland, and it had several names, one of which was Gilderoy. And Gilderoy must have been red-haired, and he was kind of a rogue of some sorts. But this is one of the fiddle tunes that didn't actually change much. So you could go to Scotland, Ireland, England, or anywhere from up and down the coast of the Americas, and they played this tune pretty much the same. So let's do The Red-Haired Boy. It's in the key of A, and we'll do it 3 times.
Okay, so before I get to the purple tune, which as you know, you have no music for, and it's a very special Silver Strings song, I wanted to talk about the pictures for the photo collage. There's no theme this week. It can be anything that you want. It can be whatever gives you joy. It can be a favorite summertime activity that we've already talked about. But I think of this collage as sort of the Spirit Jam Family album. So I'm hoping that you'll submit a picture. You've been a part of it, even if you've only been here 1 week. You've been a part and lent your spirit to the whole, and I think it's been a great thing for keeping our spirits up and feeling each other's spirits that can't be confined by the COVID-19. So, and one other thing about this particular collage is we're going to send it to the Dulcimer Player News as a follow-up. Ashley Ernst was part of this early on and is going to do an article that will appear in the next issue of this magazine. And so she got a copy of a collage done from the last week of April. And there were quite a few less people in that picture than I hope will be in this one. So anyway, I hope you will consider sending in a photo. And then my second question is, most people don't like photos of themselves. Have you ever say, oh, I look terrible, it's hard to find a picture of yourself you like. So my question is, what was a good photo of you? What was the best photo that was probably ever taken? It might have been for a special occasion, like a graduation or a wedding, or it might have been a candid shot at a very special place where you just looked the happiest you've ever been. Did you ever notice in the old photos that people never smiled? We were working on old family pictures and looking at the grandparents, and one time I think we found a smile. So anyway, where was your favorite picture taken, and what was the occasion? So now let's talk about the purple song. Last year, as I told you, we played at Everett in the pre-show on Thursday night, and our theme was colors, and we went through a bunch of different colors, but purple was a tricky one, and I couldn't figure out what to do with it because I didn't want to play Purple Rain on the dulcimer. I don't think that would work. And Deep Purple, and then somebody said, how about Purple People Eater? But the problem at Everett is that when you do a set, you have 20 minutes to get on, play your tunes, and get off. And our group, the last several years, has been well over 20. I think last year we had 27 people. We couldn't even fit on the stage. Not that I would have even tried it, because the stage is not handicapped accessible. So we filled up the track in front of the grandstand. And so I had to come up with something for purple, because it is one of the, box of 8. And I came up with the purple song. And this tune has new lyrics to a song that Silver Strings plays sings every month for birthdays. They call it the birthday song, but in this case, it's the purple song. Now, I don't know if you ever watched Howdy Doody. Well, some of you aren't old enough to even know who that is, but the theme, it goes, it's Howdy Doody time. Well, that's the tune of this. So Terry and I will sing it for you, and then you can sing it with us. And it's our birthday song for Silver Strings. And in our club, we have a gal who always leads it, Teresa Smith. I hope you're out there. I will have to do this since you're not here. Okay. This is your purple song. It doesn't last too long. You think you got it? All right, one more time. Everybody. This is your purple song. It doesn't last too long. That was our ending at Everett. Cracked them up. Of course, we were laughing a little bit too. All right, so the next part of our jam tonight takes a patriotic flavor. And the first tune we're going to play is the Battle Hymn of the Republic. And this was written in the early 1800s. It became one of the first hymns of the circuit riders, the preachers that rode the horses throughout the Appalachians in the South and Virginia and all that. And the lyrics to this song were written by Julia Ward. And she was an abolitionist and totally against slavery. And the tune itself was called John Brown's Body. And so she set her lyrics to this tune of John Brown's Body, and it became Battle Hymn of the Republic. One of the phrases of this tune was actually used in Martin Luther King's final speech that the night before he was killed, before he was assassinated. In his sermons, the first words of his sermon or his speech that night were, "Mine eyes have seen the glory of the Lord." All right, it is in the key of G. We'll play it 3 times. And fiddle players, if you have a descan or harmony to this, go ahead. And singers, if you know the words, then sing along. Okay, so the next we're going to do a medley. These next 2 tunes were written by George M. Cohan. There have been a couple of plays written about him, but he himself was prolific. He wrote over 300 tunes and 50 shows. He was from an entertaining family. His family worked in vaudeville, and he was, from the time he was 8 years old, he was in the theater. And a lot of his tunes have stayed with us all this time. And he always swore he was born on the 4th of July. However, his birth certificate says it was the 3rd. But back then, who knows? If he was born at home, I mean, my dad doesn't really know what day he was born. He was born at home, and the doctor got there a week later, and they just picked a day. So, who knows? He might have been born on the 4th, but I don't know. What do you think? All right, so it is in the key of G, both of them, and we'll play it 2 and 2, unless I get really inspired and say one more time with Grand Old Flag. I might, because we have some people in our club that really like it. And if you ever come to our club and ask for this, we have Edie, who's one of our excellent fiddle players. She channels Ethel Merman. And I don't know if we have a video anywhere on our YouTube page that features her singing this, but she'll just, knock you right out of your seat with it. So let's do Yankee Doodle Boy 2, and let's do You're a Grand Old Flag 3 times. Key of G. One more time. I can see there are a couple people that played George M. Cohan. One was Mickey Rooney, and the other, what was the other guy's name that played? You guys know who played George M. Cohan in the movie and did that Yankee Doodle Dandy? Somebody will get it. I'll read it later. Okay. So next tune we're going to do is Liberty. And Liberty was one of the really early patriotic tunes before the United States, before it was just a bunch of colonies that all were strung together and each had their own government. But this was a tune that was sort of their theme song about liberty. And we're going to play that. And actually, the tune itself was French-Canadian. And there was another, I don't know if they called it Liberty, but it's called Real de Jean. I don't know. I don't speak French. But somebody probably, I slaughtered that, and you can correct me when I see you next. All right, Liberty in the key of D, and we'll do it 3 times. question for conversation purposes of the evening is, have you or some family member been a part or in the armed services? Could be your a parent, it could be a child, it could be a sibling, it could be a husband, or anybody in your family. And if they did serve or you have served, what branch of the service were you in? And where were you stationed primarily if you were in the service? One of the gals already told us about several people in her family that were in the Navy. And I find that tends to run in families. If one's in the Navy, everybody needs to go into the Navy. Or if you're an Army person, then, the Army is it. And the same thing with Marines or the Air Force. So, Terry, were
Yes.
you in the service?
Yes, I was. When I graduated from Central, I was part of the ROTC program. So I was commissioned as a second lieutenant in the United States Army, and spent the next 4 years in the service. I did not go to Vietnam. I missed it by about 9 days. They sent me to Fort Benning, Georgia, instead of Vietnam. So I had a pretty good tour. I spent 3 years at Fort Benning, and
What did you do?
I flew medevac helicopters as part of the Medical Service Corps, which is the branch I was assigned to when I graduated from college. And we had a really good mission there at Fort Benning. We supplied 24/7 rescue for the post, and then we also became involved in the MAST program, Military Assistance to Safety and Traffic, where we transported civilian patients from rural hospitals to Atlanta and Macon, some of the upscale hospitals. Transferred a lot of premature babies. So we really had a good mission there at Fort Benning, and had about $600 in the Huey. So I had a good experience. Unlike my cousin, who was 7 weeks older than I am, he spent 2 tours in Vietnam as assigned to the 101st. His first tour was on the ground, and the second tour was with the 101st, and he was a tour gunner. So I guess the second tour he made up for my absence. So, but he made it back all right, and pretty proud of him. 2 tours of Vietnam is pretty good.
Okay, so the next thing we're going to play is the Armed Services Salute, and we go like one right after the other. The order of this is, from what I understand, there's been some, I guess you can play it in any order, but I'm playing it in the order that my understanding is the preferred military order. We start with the Army, and we go to the Marines, and then the Navy and the Air Force, which is one of the newer branches of the service, and finally the U.S. Coast Guard. So share your stories, and let's play. play this quite often in our from April through July because there's so many national holidays. There's Veterans Day and Flag Day and Armed Services Day, and it's just so many of them, and a lot of the people really appreciate it. But I have to share this story with you. We were playing at a nursing home, and this gentleman was in the front row, and he sat in a wheelchair, just didn't move, he just kind of slept. And then we got to this, and he sat up. He sang every verse. I mean, he was with it. And then at the end, he stood up and he saluted. And I thought everybody that worked in that room, that worked there, was going to have a heart attack because he was obviously not supposed to be standing. And for how long he would be able to stand, I don't know. But it just brought him quite alive. And it was quite amazing to see what the effect was. So anyway, we're coming to national anthems, and it's an interesting thing about national anthems because, the Star-Spangled Banner was not always the national anthem. In fact, it hasn't even been the national anthem for 100 years, because it didn't become officially the national anthem until 1931. And up until that time, there were several tunes that were played and sung that were, quote, unofficial national anthems. And one of the tunes, which isn't part of our club repertoire, was Columbia, Gem of the Ocean. But you would recognize it if you heard it. And it was very popular in the late 19th and early 20th century. It had been composed in 1800s, middle 1800s. And another one was called Hail Columbia. Columbia was the symbol, the mother of the country, so to speak. And that was written too a long time ago in 1789, actually for the first inauguration of George Washington. So, but it lost popularity after World War I. So I don't know why that didn't end up becoming the national anthem. I think you will see it sung in some historical movies. Anyway, so that, and this next tune, which is that what's next? My Country 'Tis of Thee? Oh. All right. So, My Country 'Tis of Thee, that was, the lyrics were written by a student in the late, in Andover, Massachusetts, and he was a student at a theological seminary, and he was a friend of Lowell Mason, who was a very famous organist, and he also wrote a lot of hymns. So the melody to My Country 'Tis of Thee is the same as the national anthem of the United Kingdom. But this was something that some of you may remember singing in school. I remember singing it. We did the Pledge of Allegiance, and then we sang My Country 'Tis of Thee. And I don't know how many times, how long that lasted or whatever, but I do remember, So this was in contention, and it certainly was one of the unofficial national anthems for a long, long time.
Okay.
We're going to play it twice. It's in the key of G.
Twice.
So I wonder, do you remember the words to that? Some of you have copies with the words on them, but sometimes the tunes that we learned when we were really young, they stick with you, you know. Oh, anyway, so the other tune, we skipped one. Did we skip one? We didn't get America the Beautiful. Here's America the Beautiful. I don't know. Well, somehow it got missed. We'll have to find. You look
Stay
for it.
tuned, we'll find it.
Okay, he's going to look for it. America the Beautiful was another one of the tunes that was an unofficial national anthem. And Catherine Bates wrote the poem. She had been out to Colorado and took a trek up to Pikes Peak. And she wrote the words in the very early, late 1800s. And then she revised them twice after she wrote them. The music she set this poem to was written by Samuel Ward, who was also an organist, and he had composed this piece called Materna. So it's one, again, that you will have heard over the years, but it didn't make it didn't get chosen as the official anthem. And the last one, which we're not going to play, which I really love, is God Bless America. But that one has copyright issues, so I'm not going to play it because I'm not going to get our club into trouble. But that's another unofficial national anthem that became very, very popular in the 30s. And I don't know how the political battle came about that Star Spangled Banner got chosen, because to me that's the hardest to sing of the whole kit and caboodle, but it is what it is. So let's do America the Beautiful, and it's in the key of G, and we'll do it, let's see how many times, twice. Okay. Watch tomorrow for my wrap-up post, because I want to give you links to the various artists who have given us permission to play their music on these live jams. People like Dee Dee Tibbetts and Rick Thumb and Judy Morningstar and others as well. And this next tune, we played this, I think, the very first jam, or one of the first ones, and we got flagged by YouTube. So I contacted Jay Unger, and he gave us permission to use this. And he and Molly Mason do a free concert every Wednesday night called The Quiet Room on Facebook Live, and they accept tips on that during that concert to raise funds because they are unable to go. All artists right now cannot make a living if they're expecting to do performances. And they have a camp called the Ashokan Camp in New York, and it's a dance and music camp for all ages. And they're raising funds to keep that going, and they've had it there many years. And so I wanted to give you the links to these things. So make sure you check tomorrow because I'm going to be putting that on. And so now we're going to do Ashokan Farewell, which is in the key of D, and we'll do it 3 times. And again, fiddles take it away on the second to do a descant or harmony or whatever, and I'm going to be listening for you. At that Ashokan camp, they're doing a lot of their classes now online, and they have Guitar Week, and they have Bluegrass Week, and Southern Week, and Northern Week, and all kinds of specialty interest in music. So I hope you look up. I will give you the information on that. And I also wanted to just give a little shout out to one of our young members. And a while back, there was a special time where they asked everybody that could play the trumpet or the bugle to go at a certain time and play taps. And our member, Emily Smith, was one of those. And she posted that she played taps. Taps at military there's a shortage of people that can do that, and sometimes they just use recordings. But if you have somebody that's a live musician, you just can't beat that. So anyway, you can look that up, and I think she's posted it on her YouTube page, on her Facebook page. So my gosh, we're at the end of our last jam. I hope you've enjoyed it, and it's just been 3 months. Can you believe it's been 3 months? Gosh, I can't. Anyway, so our last tune is going to be, as has been our custom, Amazing Grace. And we will play it, 3 times, and the 4th time we'll sing. It's in the key of G. We've done a lot of G tonight. I don't know, it's an easy key for hammered dulcimers. I think it's the hammered dulcimer national key. When I first started, one of the musicians at our church who builds organs and has perfect pitch and is quite a musician in his own right, he said to me, "Do you know how to play anything besides in the key of G?" And I said, "Well, yeah." He said, "Well, the only other hammer dulcimer player I ever knew was the only key he could play in." I said, "Well, there are other keys that's just G is easiest." He said, "That's boring." So that's why I like to add music in different keys to keep it from getting boring for certain people. All right, Amazing Grace, 4 times. The 4th time we sing, obviously. If you've been here before, and if you haven't, that's what we do. And make sure that you have shared your stories, and you can continue and send your pictures, and let's continue. Okay, so again, I thank you all for finding us somehow or other and being here and being part of this whole Spirit Jam experiment. It's been quite a ride, and it sure pushed me and Terry out of our comfort zones. I couldn't have done it without Terry, because while I can walk across the bridge, there's no way I can build a bridge. You need an engineer for that, and he has been the engineer behind making this work technically, because I certainly don't have a clue. But anyway, before we leave, I'd just like to toast you. So with this parting glass,
we wish you happy trails
and pray that God will be with you
and bless you with grace
until we meet again. Bye now.